At the University of Lincoln, we recognise that change is coming, and we're preparing our students to lead that change. That means a great student experience underpinned by world-class research. With our students, we're solving global challenges in fields like health, energy, agriculture and climate. So come to an open day and be the change.
Hello everyone, welcome to this live lounge event for the University of Lincoln. My name is Emily, I am a first year student studying film production. I'm originally from Kent and you're going to be hosting this event for you. We also have Sophie.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, I'm a second year law student and I'm from Doncaster. Mitchell, do you want to go next?
Hi everyone, my name is Mitchell, I'm a third year history student and I'm from Norwich originally.
Hi everybody, I'm Tallulah and I'm currently studying a master's in cloud computing and I'm originally from Lincoln.
Fab. So you can obviously submit your questions in the little live chat underneath and we will do our best to answer them. But to kick this off, I think we're going to start off with some general questions. So the first question is, what attracted us to Lincoln and why did we choose to come here? So I guess I'll start with that one. So for me, what attracted me was, first of all, my course. So as I said, I'm originally from Kent, so I'm quite far away. So so I was starting by looking at my course. I wanted to do a really practical course, which film production is. And I was torn between two different unis, and Lincoln was the one that just felt right for me because of like the city and accommodation and just like loads of things just kind of like, well, it just felt right for me to come here. So that's why I chose to come here. Sophie?
So quite similar to do with the course. Obviously, a lot of universities offer law courses, but when it came to picking like the elective modules, every university offers different. So I really wanted to do medical law and ethics at A-level. My teacher had spoken about how good it was, and I wanted to go to a university that offered that module essentially. I also was just sort of applying for universities that are about an hour away, most of them in Yorkshire and then Lincoln. So I was far enough away for independence, but at the same time, I could nip home on a weekend and get my mum to do my washing if I didn't want to. And when I came on an open day, I absolutely fell in love with campus, how everything's in one place. It was so clean and safe. I fell in love with the accommodation as well. And it just felt like its own little student community.
Yeah, great. Mitchell?
So yeah, I'm kind of sort of halfway in between. So I'm about sort of 2.5 hours away from home. So again, it's quite a nice distance really, to kind of get here and back. I can have kind of my own independence, but equally kind of not be kind of pestered by my family all the time, come and visit me. Equally, yeah, kind of being a history student, obviously Lincoln's a really historic city. You've got the cathedral, castle and kind of various other points, just to name a few. Again, that kind of really appealed to me kind of on the doorstep as well. Obviously, if you're kind of brave enough to venture up a steep hill, which the first time was a little bit tricky. Just again, the course really as well. Looked at a few of the unis for history. But again, Lincoln had a really good sort of range of modules, anything from ancient to modern to medieval, which is really good. And again, kind of the assessment types as well really appealed to me. I know a lot of people kind of have exams, things like that, but my course has pretty much solely been essays, which I preferred so much more, was more sort of applicable for me than it was for the courses.
Yeah, Tallulah?
So I think for me, first of all, being from Lincoln, just seeing the growth and investment in the uni was really appealing to me. I mean, we've had so many amazing new buildings and facilities, built, especially for my course, computer science and cloud computing. The facilities are incredible, really high standard, and you can access everything 24/7, which is amazing. I think also it's really nice to live in an affordable city, because everything's so close together. You don't need to worry too much about travel or, taxis or buses or things like that. Everything is literally in walking distance. which is, you know, it's perfect if you're on a night out or you just want to go see your friends or things like that. It's just really nice to have everything in one place, really. You don't have to worry about those extra hidden costs of living, really. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and leading on from that, what I really liked was how everything is almost like geared up to uni students. So like everywhere does like it's just like simple things like student discounts and things like that. And there's loads of like you said, like really reasonably priced places to go to eat or whatever. And yeah, so that was also something that I really liked about Lincoln as well. Fab. So another thing that people often ask is how did you prepare for uni, because that's obviously like a really scary massive jump. So did you do anything in particular like the summer before you went, or anything like that? I'll go to Sophie first.
Yeah, so I'm a uni buddy ambassador at the moment, and when I before I started, I was racking my brain thinking I really want to be prepared. I was watching like YouTube videos and stuff like that, trying to like really get prepared. And I did actually use uni buddy sort of to ask questions about my course to find out a bit more information about it, to see if I had to like do any reading in advance, do any preparation work. For those people who don't know, UniBuddy is a platform where you can instant message current students and ask any questions about the course or the university in general, campus accommodation, everything like that. And then again, obviously I visited an open day. I visited loads of open days, but I absolutely fell in love with Lincoln. If I'm completely honest, I didn't expect to love it as much as I would. I thought, oh, I'll just go to this open day. I've applied for it. I'm waiting for an offer. I'll go and have a look. And then I got a gut feeling like this is where I want to be. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like sometimes you can do all your research and whatever, but sometimes you do just have to go and visit, and just like get a sense of it. Yeah, Mitchell, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I will kind of just stress that as well. You can kind of look at uni website, kind of videos all you like, but kind of until you visited the uni, really, that's kind of the best way you'll get a sense of kind of what it's like and kind of really is it for you. I'd definitely say, kind of stress that. Again, yeah, I think kind of preparations. I went to an open day as well, obviously, had a look around, kind of really loved the city, kind of where it was, everything about it, really. Also, kind of did a follow up trip with my family, kind of a few months later down the line. Again, that was just a few hours, just kind of wander around the high street, kind of seeing what was there, seeing what was on, just kind of get a sense of feel, to rough kind of guides, so kind of where I knew everything was, kind of how long was everything away from me, kind of where would I be staying, what kind of things went on in Lincoln. So again, that for me was really kind of the key things I did, just to kind of keep on top and just kind of. So when I came, I knew then kind of okay, so the supermarket's here, the shops are here, kind of student nights are here. Again, just so I got a feel for the city and kind of really understood where everything was, just to kind of bed me in a bit better. Really.
Yeah, Tallulah, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think it was the same for me, really. Went to an open day, just really loved the atmosphere and the fact that everyone is just always willing to help out or answer any questions or things like that. But even if, you know, you couldn't get to an open day, it is, you know, a pretty open campus. So you can just, you know, book in for accommodation tours separately, you know, walk around the campus. Because I think one of the things about going to see it in person is you really realize what a nice campus it is, and just what a nice place it is to study, because it literally has everything you possibly need and more all in one space, and it is a beautiful space, so it's definitely worth going to have a look at in person.
Yeah, 100%. Like there are so many things that you can just like so many nice areas that you can just like chill and as a student you can go and work, but even if you're not a student, that it's just like such a lovely place. And leading on to what you said, Tallulah, about if you can't visit, there is still like loads of information, and what Sophie said, like on the university website, but also we have something called Student Life, which I'm sure the people watching this will be aware. But if you're not, It's a platform that is run by, we employ students to make content about student life, as the name would suggest. And we have over 200 videos about so many different topics. So if you have a student-based question, it's a really good place to go and try and find a student talking about that. We also make TikToks and things like that, a lot more light-hearted content that's really fun. We have a Facebook, an Instagram where we publicize about events, things going on around Lincoln. And yeah, it's a really great platform for current students and new students to go and have a look at. So I'd really encourage everyone to go look at that. Fab. So now we've talked about preparations, let's move on to move-in day. So what was packing like, and what did you bring? What did you wish you had brung? What do you wish you hadn't brought? Things like that. Sophie?
Yeah, I've just seen that we've got a question in the comments. So Malik is asking about a specific course for international students. So none of us, unfortunately, are international students, but if you can email international inquiries at lincoln.ac.uk, they should be able to help you with that. Yeah, it's on the bottom of the screen there as well. So now I'll go back to the question you asked. Sorry, Emily. So to do with things I packed when I was moving in and stuff like that. So firstly, I wish I hadn't packed so many items that I knew would be shared. So things in the kitchen spaces, because when I moved in, I lived in Signet Wharf and it was a flat of 10 people, and we ended up moving in with 10 giant bottles of washing up liquid and stuff like that. And it just wasn't necessary, storage purposes and things like that. It was more, I'd recommend moving in first and then having a chat with people, see what other people have brought, because you might end up taking a toaster and 10 people, you might bring 10 toasters to your flat. You don't need 10 toasters. Save kitchen space and share costs as well. I think that's really important. It makes everything cheaper. Everyone can chip in. Even, I know this year I'm in a shared bathroom, and you don't want the same person buying all the toilet roll in the same way you don't want everyone coming with a big 24 pack of toilet roll, because it just won't fit anywhere essentially. So yeah. And then another thing, I didn't pack this, but a girl brought, I don't know what it's called a Dishmatic or something. It was like a little sponge on a stick, and it dispenses washing up liquid, and I thought, oh, do you use a cloth or whatever? But no,
Yeah.
Cloths get dirty. You can wash your pots.
That's
It makes
brilliant.
everything so much easier. It's honestly brilliant. I can't go back now. I can't go back washing pots the normal way.
It saves my life, especially in first year when you don't have a dishwasher. Honestly, first world problems, but you learn so quickly how much you take for granted a dishwasher. So yeah, that is a massive shout. Mitchell, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, kind of just stress on that as well. I think you can still join the Facebook group chats. Then if you guys kind of joined them when you kind of went for accommodation, but again, I kind of spoke to my flat in first year, kind of got together. Again, that was a great way just to kind of break the ice a little bit, meet people, again, kind of gauge what people bring in. Again, I think we had the same problem. I think we had about 12, sort of a dozen oven trays, a dozen sort of cupcake trays, and it just doesn't fit anywhere. It doesn't work. You've got things everywhere. So it's even worse at the end of the year when you've got to kind of pack everything away. I think at the end we're just a mountain of kind of pots, pans, and various kind of kitchen items that people have brought extra of. So again, it's definitely worth kind of thinking about what you can bring. Again, it's kind of as well, I think my family were pretty organised, kept me sort of on track. I think we went to IKEA, there's sort of an IKEA shop, kind of all the essentials beforehand, kind of wrote a list of what you need. Again, I definitely check what your accommodation provides, because I know some provide more than others. Again, you don't want to bring things that's already there. Getting equal as well, I kind of sort of emptied my room out at home, kind of packed it and took it here to Lincoln. It's probably definitely, I think, probably sorting things out. Because again, I've brought bags of stuff, sort of shoes, clothes, various things I've just kind of hung in my wardrobe and I've not worn in 3 years. So I say it's definitely well worth kind of thinking ahead, kind of being planned. Again, if you can kind of talk to your flat or people you're going to live with, again, it's just great to break the ice. And again, you don't end up kind of bringing things you don't need or you've got multiple things of. That's definitely what I kind of recommend.
Just to go on top of that, I'd say don't bring anything that you don't use at home. Like, you might not cook at home, but things that your parents don't even use. Like, if you're cooking the same meals that your mum cooks you, then don't bring all these unnecessary I know I bought like a set of like cooking utensils, and I used like 2 of them, like the tongs and then like a scooper. I hadn't used half of them, so it just fills up your drawer, and then it just makes life harder, really, especially like Mitchell said, when you're moving out.
Yeah, completely. Tallulah, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I definitely overpacked because even though I'm from Lincoln, I spent first year in courts, the university accommodation, and I definitely just took way too much. And I think you just get excited and you just want to like take everything with you, and it's just unnecessary. I think another thing I would recommend though is buying for yourself. So I know that a lot of places, when it's coming up to September, do loads of student deals and things like that. And if you're going to buy, plates and cutlery and things, they kind of do them in sets of 4 or 6, and it's just, you don't need 4 plates and 4 bowls and things like that. So yeah, buy single, of everything really. Just take what you need. And yeah, try and join Facebook groups to, link up with people who you're going to be living with, and try and gauge like what people can bring, so you can kind of decompress a little bit, and it takes up a lot less storage as well. And wait for the student deals to come out in the summer. Don't get too overexcited and buy straight away. Wait until those offers start rolling in, because you'll save so much money as well for your packing.
Yeah, definitely. And also to like kind of piggyback on that, don't be like fooled into student deals, because I know sometimes companies can make it like dress it up in all this fluff to make it sound like you're getting a really good deal, but because they know it's like coming up to university time. So just basically do your research and compare and just try and get the best deal. Just to remind you guys that you can submit your own questions below. So we can answer more specific questions if you have them, not just the ones that we're supplying ourselves. So yeah, keep those questions coming in for us. Someone said in the comments, what is diversity like at Lincoln? For me, I think the diversity here is brilliant. We have a really strong international core here at the University of Lincoln. We also have some really amazing societies. So we've got the I can't think of the top of my head, but we've got loads of like we've got the Pride Society, we've got the Afro-Caribbean Society, we've got Christian Union, the Muslim Society. There's like loads all to do with race, faith, sexuality, as well as, just kind of like fun, light-hearted societies. Like we've got a Harry Potter Society. So there's loads of things that you can join. But even if you don't do that, the diversity here is really amazing. We celebrate so many different sort of holidays and things like that. The multi-faith chaplaincy is amazing here. They do a lot for celebrations and things like that. I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to add.
Just reiterating what you said, really, like definitely look into the societies, look on the Students' Union website. I think also the university website have statements on diversity and stuff like that, so you can see obviously what the university do to obviously be as diverse and inclusive as possible. So that's really important. But yeah, that was a great question, and definitely look at the societies, because again, loads of multi-faith, multicultural societies where you can meet people with similar backgrounds to you. But I also think a great thing about university is meeting so many different people as well, because you might come from an area like people from different backgrounds. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, completely. And another thing that someone has said is about the Facebook groups, which I think, Mitchell, you spoke about. And you can just go onto Facebook. What I did when I joined, I literally just searched up, when I was looking for people in my accommodation, I just searched up Signet Wharf 21 to 22, and found a group. But I think the residential wardens also have one for each accommodation. So the residential wardens are people who are in second year or above who have lived in accommodation, and they're basically your first port of call if you have issues or like questions about moving into accommodation. They also hold socials. So I remember in my Freshers Week, they did like a movie night where people in our building got together and watched a film, and they do like games nights and things like that. So yeah, I would encourage you to just go onto Facebook and just type in some keywords and just have a little look around and just join some, really. Fab. Yeah, so let's continue with some. We've got loads of questions coming in now. If anyone sees one that they want to grab, feel free.
I was going to say, I think it's Jafir. He's asked about his application status. Again, you can email the inquiries team. It's inquiries.lincoln.ac.uk if you're from the UK, and then if you're an international student, it's internationalinquiries@lincoln.ac.uk, and they should be able to help you out with your application status and stuff like that.
Yeah, fab. And someone has just put kind of reiterated our point about diversity. They've said that Lincoln is a truly diverse community, and you'll find or get to see someone from your home country. And yeah, I think that's just building on what we just said. It is a really great city to be in. Rachel said, do all courses have placement opportunities, and is this organised by the uni? So I guess we can only say by our courses, but I would encourage you to go onto the website and look at the course that you're looking at. It is generally, from my memory, it's run by course to course, so it's not kind of like a set thing. So I would encourage you to go and read up about your specific course, but it is run through your course, so they will have all their information over there.
I was going to say as well, if you do go onto the course websites and you're reading the information and it's not almost telling you what you specifically want to know, there will be an email address on the each course page saying the email address of the person who runs the course, essentially, and you can drop them an email and they might be able to give you some more information as well.
Yeah. Misty said, what are the best ways to meet people? Would it be through clubs, societies, or other means? So for me personally, I'm not a massive clubber. I've been out a few times just to kind of like see what Lincoln has to offer, but it's not really my bag. So for me, I met people firstly through my accommodation. So as you can see, I'm in student accommodation. I'm in Signet Wharf. So I basically just got to know the people in my flat, and that's quite an easy one to do. Also, people on your course, that's instantly a mutual interest that you have with them. And also a really good one is the clubs and societies. So I joined Christian Union and made friends through that. I don't know if you guys wanted to add on.
I'll just say, and then we'll pass on to everyone else. I was going to say, I came in like the COVID year, so I really got close to everyone in my flat because it was 10 people. It was plenty of people to like get along with, meet people with similar interests and stuff. But I've noticed a lot more this year how much joining a society can benefit you. Like obviously you've mentioned, but because there's so many different societies, like sports societies, academic societies, and just random ones. Like I think our new one's a Taylor Swift society. You can just meet people with really similar interests to you. And if you go into a society fair and think, oh, I'm interested in that, oh, I'm interested in that, join as many as you want and you'll find your people, because it's not necessarily, I'm moving in, I've lived with these people, we don't necessarily have the same interest, but I want to be friends with them because I live with them. Obviously, that's important, but you will fall into your crowd. I'd say don't be afraid to put yourself out there, introduce yourself, and get involved in things, because that is how you'll find your crowd. Did you want to say something, Tallulah?
Yeah, I was just going to say, kind of just to follow on from what you guys have said, there really is just something for everybody. And I think the student union do loads of great events. There's loads of, nights out that are organised for students as well. Lincoln's like a real diverse place, and I think it's, you know, often underrated because it's not a huge city like Leeds or London, but it does have everything you possibly need. And I think joining a society is not only a great way to, you know, meet new people who have similar interests to you, but it's just also a great thing to put on your like CV and cover letter, and also just really find out what it is you love doing as well. So yeah, societies and student union events are really great.
Yeah, completely. We've got loads of questions coming in now. So Robin has said, what's accessibility like in Lincoln? I am a disabled student and would love to know what support there is to help people such as myself. So first of all, I would recommend going on the Wellbeing website or the Wellbeing Instagram, because they obviously have really great resources for students with disabilities. But in terms of accessibility, I can't think of any building that doesn't have lift access or anything like that. We have in all of our lecture theatres, we have some rows at the front that are wheelchair accessible. We have, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, so someone else jump in if they've got anything.
I was going to add, I know in like Signet Wharf that I lived in first year, they have got accessible flats. Like a lot of the accommodation does offer accessibility as well. So if you're thinking, oh, I can't live in accommodation because it won't be accessible, don't let that stop you, because they do like to cater to everyone. And I think the accessible flats are a lot bigger, a lot more space. So they do almost cater for everyone in that sense.
Yeah, I'll just jump in on that. Sorry. Yeah, I lived in Block B, which was the accessible block. So again, kind of the rooms are sort of laid out, so really accessible. I think they had a few kind of accessible friendly rooms, so kind of wet rooms, things like that. So again, they're really accessible, really easy to get around. Again, a lot more spacious, things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Someone else has said, when will we roughly receive our timetable information? So for me, I got my timetable pretty much. I think I got my timetable a couple of weeks before, but you also will get a separate timetable for your welcome week. So that is kind of typically known as Freshers Week. We call it Welcome Week here, but it is pretty much the same thing. So yeah, so that will, I think they are changing it slightly this year, but you will get that just before you come. But I remember I had access, I think, a week or two before the start of my course. So you're not going in completely blind. You do know roughly when your lectures are and everything. But I would encourage you to look on the website, keep up to date with your emails and things like that, because all of that information will be given to you. And yeah.
I'd say on that as well, if it's a sense of you want your timetable so you can see like where you need to be and stuff, obviously, as Emily said, you'll get it a bit before. So in Welcome Week and Freshers Week, you can walk around and see where your lecture theatres are and stuff. But at the same time, if you're worried about like fitting in part-time jobs, I'd say your contact hours are so much less than what you might be used to at school, sixth form or college. There's definitely times where you can like fit in a job or fit in like your independent studies or any extra curricular activities too. So I know in first year I had a complete day off. Not everyone gets that, but I was lucky to have that. Some days I might just have uni in the morning, or I might just have uni in the afternoon. I know today I had a lecture at 9 a.m. and that's it for my day today. So yeah, you can, if that was your worry, like trying to plan part-time jobs and stuff, there is definitely time for that. Obviously, you just won't know specifically until you get your timetable.
Yeah, of course. Just popping in, there's a couple of questions regarding cast letters. Again, I would encourage you to get in contact with International Inquiries. The email is just below us, because they deal with all kind of queries more tailored to that. So yeah, I would encourage you to head on over there. Someone has said, when do we find out our accommodation and flats? So again, from memory, you get emailed this. I found out sort of midsummer. So after results day, after you've had your confer, you know where you're going. They will allocate people flats, and that will be in an email. And then to kind of tie that together, someone else has said, how do you find people in your flats and things like that. So again, with the Facebook thing, like Mitchell said, I think that was the way I did it. So just typing in some keywords into Facebook and the year that you're joining, and there it's normally someone has started a group chat or something that you can join. So that's what I did. I don't know if you guys did it any differently. You want to add anything?
I know that they don't actually allocate the specific flats until what's it called, results day, after results day. So you can find out like what accommodation you're in and everything like that, but you'll find out the specific flat and room after results day. And then, like Emily said, we were all sort of typing who's in apartment 19 Signet Wharf, and then everyone was like, oh, I am, we'll add you to this group, add you to this group, and you sort of found out like who you're going to be living with. I know when I moved in, we found 9 of us and the other person, and we were all sort of figuring out like, who is this person? And we're only going to have 9 people in our flat. But then we moved in and we did find that person eventually. But yeah, so you'll get allocated specific flats and rooms after results day.
Yeah. So someone else has said, Megan has said, what advice would you give when moving into accommodation? How to not make it awkward? I'm a mature student. So for me, it was something really simple. It was biscuits. Bring a peace offering, and just, you know, we all kind of, after my parents left and sorted everything out, we kind of all congregated in the lounge, and I brought a packet of biscuits out, and we all just had a cup of tea and some biscuits. So yeah, and I think someone said it down below, but honestly, no one really cares about how old you are. We've got some mature students on our course and no one bats an eyelid. So I think, yeah, just get stuck in, and you just have to, it's one of those things that there is a little bit of awkwardness, and there always will be, because you are being thrown in this new situation. But I think if you just go in with confidence and just, you know, obviously be a nice person and just introduce yourself, and yeah, I think that is just the best way forward.
Just to touch on that one as well, I know when I moved in, I was absolutely terrified. And something about a lot of the flats, like you sort of have a row of doors in a corridor, and like your communal space is obviously a lot more like bigger and open plan. But unless you're sat in like the kitchen almost waiting for people to walk in and say hello, you might not come across them. So it might be nice to leave your bedroom door open and like the day you move in, which it'll help you move in like your boxes and stuff like that from like the car up through the lift and into your actual room. But also it's nice to say hello to people as they walk past. When I moved in, it was near Halloween time, and we went to the Swan, which is like our traditional on-campus pub, and they were doing a Halloween night. So me and my flatmates went, we did a Halloween themed quiz, and we had Halloween themed cocktails, and it was just something nice and fun to do to break the ice in like a social environment, rather than having to almost go up to someone and introduce yourself in the kitchen. It's a bit nicer to make a plan and go and do something as well. Did anyone else have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I was going to say I completely agree with you, and I think you know, I'm a mature student. I don't mind saying I'm 27 now, and I have, you know, not worried about it once. I mean, before I joined my masters, I was a little bit anxious because I thought, oh, I might be the oldest one there, and I have to, you know, prepare myself for that. But do you know what? It's just, you know, really good that the university is so diverse, and you know, in my course there's such a mixture of age ranges that you don't even think about, you know, how old you are really. And when I first joined university for my undergraduate, I was 21, and I went to Courts Accommodation, and they actually placed me in a flat with people of a similar age to me. So I wasn't with, you know, people who maybe just turned 18. I was with, you know, the early 20s. So that was really nice that the university took that into consideration. Of course, it didn't stop me from, you know, making friends with other people from other flats and things like that. But yeah, I wouldn't even worry about, you know, being a mature student. You know, it's really diverse university. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll chat on the end of that. Yeah, kind of the idea that, you know, you're all kind of in the same boat. You know, you've all come from different walks of life, different areas, different courses, kind of whatever your backgrounds or experiences are. You know, you're all kind of new in that experience. You know, just to kind of bear that in mind as well. I think when I joined, we walked to the local Morrison supermarket, things like that. Just walk around the city centre, kind of things like that, just to bear in mind. Kind of, you're all kind of in the same boat, and just to kind of, even just sort of simple activities. If you don't know Lincoln that well, might help you out, and B, kind of just a good way to bond and kind of get more people in that way.
Yeah, completely. Harrison has said, do people go to Nottingham for nightlife sometimes? Is it easy to get to? In my experience, it's actually a bit further than you think. So I don't really know anyone who, I mean, you guys might completely prove me wrong, but I don't know anyone who's been to Nottingham just for a night out. I've known people who have gone there for sort of like a day, because there is a train from Lincoln to Nottingham. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
Yeah, it's not too far on the train, but the train times to and from Nottingham are a little bit weird. So I think the last train leaves Lincoln, I think it's like 10, or leaves Nottingham, sorry, at 10 something in the evening, and then there isn't another train till like 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's great if you're going there for a day, but nights out are a little bit trickier. It's not too far, it's about an hour and a half, so it's not too bad, but yeah, it's a little bit trickier for a night out, but great for a day trip.
Yeah.
I was going to say on that, I've not actually been to Nottingham like at all, but my friend is at uni in Nottingham and she comes and visits me all the time. So I think if you've got friends there and you can stay overnight or for a few days, because she's visited me, she'll come for a few days at a time and then she'll go home. That makes it a lot better than having to worry about trains after a night out, I suppose.
Fab. We've got a question from Julia saying that this is her son's insurance choice, and how does that work with accommodation? So you can book accommodation, and then when on results day, when you decide, or when your son decides where he wants to go, you can kind of basically pick and choose which university, but you'll kind of have that insurance of accommodation set with us if in case you do decide to come here, which obviously the four of us would highly recommend. But yeah, that's not no problem at all. You can still book accommodation.
I think just to add on to that, I'm not sure of the specific number, but I think it's a £50 booking fee, which obviously is money, but it's not it's not hundreds of pounds that you have to pay in deposit. And then I think that comes off your first month's rent if your son does decide to come to this university. So I double check the actual numbers, but it's not an extortionate amount that you could potentially lose if he did go to a different university, if that helps.
Yeah. And obviously, the accommodation have a tab on the university website, I'm pretty sure, where all of this information is, and they have an FAQ bit at the bottom. So if you have another question about that, I'd highly encourage you to go have a look on there. Again, Patrick has said something about CAS. Again, I would highly encourage you to go on the international inquiries email, because they deal with all of those sort of queries about CAS letters and things like that. The email is at the bottom of this screen. So yeah, for international students and things like that, they're the best people to contact.
I've seen there's been a question from Missy about when student loans go in. So if you weren't aware, they're paid in 3 payments. Usually your rent at your student accommodation lines up with them, which is quite good. I know our university owned accommodation does. Because we started a bit later this year, we started in October, where I know a lot of universities started in September. I think we got a payment in October, sort of just before we started. And then one in January and one in April, I believe. That's how our payments work this year. Obviously, it differs depending on the timetable of the university, but everyone tends to sort of get it at the same time in terms of undergraduate maintenance loan.
Yeah, if it's postgrad, it's slightly different. So you get still when you enroll, but you get 3 payments, and your tuition fees come out of those as well. So it's slightly different, but similar in terms of it's dependent on your enrollment, and
Yeah. Amelie has said, what are the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome when adjusting to life at uni? especially being further from home. So, like I said earlier, I'm from Kent, so I'm from quite far away. So I didn't have the luxury of being able to, pop home at the weekend to see my family. So, the first thing that comes to my head is FaceTime. FaceTime is a godsend for me. I speak to my family pretty much every day on FaceTime, and most importantly, my dog. And also just like finding things that remind you of home. So another thing that I did was, and it sounds really silly, but in especially my first weeks when I was feeling a bit homesick, it really, really helped. I bought the same laundry detergent that I have at home. So when I did my first load of washing, my bedding and everything still smelt of home. So it was kind of like a funny comfort thing. And also bringing pictures, things that remind you of home. I just like little things. You don't have to do like anything massive, like traveling home or anything. Just like little things actually help a lot more than you think. Sophie, did you want to add anything?
I was going to say I'm not really that far away from home. I'm far
Yeah.
enough again for my independence, but I'm not too far. So especially in first year, I used to travel home every weekend because I worked in Doncaster. So I didn't really face that much trouble with that. This year I'm working in Lincoln. So I try to go home as much as possible. Obviously, that's a lot easier for me. I know Mitchell lives a bit further away. If you have anything to add to that, Mitchell.
Yeah, I think mine was just kind of, just you mentioned there, only just kind of adjustment really. Obviously, I wasn't massively far away from home, but I was kind of a distance enough. It was a bit, I could get back, but equally it was kind of a bit of a distance. For me, I think it sounds a bit in hindsight now, but I was just worried about kind of sort of managing really, kind of fitting everything in. To me, it's the first time I've done my kind of like laundry on a mass scale, which is something I'll never take for granted again. Just things like that really. I was a bit, how am I going to manage that? How am I going to kind of deal with it? But again, I think it's something you kind of, as you get into like a routine, you can just speak to people, kind of, kind of bed yourself in. I think that's the best way. The first few weeks, again, it's just quite a transition, quite a change. But again, I think as you go on, you kind of get into a routine and kind of how things work, what things to do. But again, I'd just say, things take time to kind of bed in. But again, just kind of get yourself into routine. Again, I'd say kind of keep yourself busy as well. I kind of went to a lot of things, kind of got involved with different activities. It's just that was my kind of best way to bed in, really, kind of get used to uni life.
Yeah. Tallulah, did you want to add anything?
I mean, because I'm from Lincoln, I think that maybe doesn't apply to me as much. But yeah, definitely agree with Mitchell. Just get involved. There's so much going on all the time, so you can always be busy. And yeah.
Kay has asked, in terms of her son, she said about placements again. So it was something that we mentioned earlier, but each course kind of handles it themselves, so it's not the same for every course. So for your son, in I think business, I would encourage you to go on to the business course website and see how they handle placements and things like that, because they will have the best information for your specific course requirements. So that will just be on the main university website.
Yeah, just to add on to that, like 3 of my friends do, I don't know if they do business or if they do some like business management, some sort of business course within the business school. And 3 of them are actually they're doing a placement this year. So it'd be between 2nd and 3rd year. Obviously opportunities can differ every year. But that's like from my experience, I know they've all found placements back home as well. So I know one of them is from Norwich, one of them is from Essex, and they sort of moving home for that year. And doing placements near them and then coming back to do their 3rd year after that year placement. But I don't know how it's worked without arranging through the business school or like arranging it themselves. But I know that the business school do tend to push placements from my experience of it.
Yeah. Gaynor has said about moving in. So from my memory, and guys, please correct me if I get this wrong, but from memory, you get to book a slot like a week or 2 before. So it's not like you have to move in on this day at this time. You can choose when works for you. It's usually a few days before welcome week starts. So I think the last people that moved into my flat was the Saturday or Sunday before Welcome Week started on Monday, but some people moved in like a week before, so it's usually that sort of time window, but you'll get an email from Accommodation Services about that, and with like a link to go on and book your slot, so that not everyone's coming all at once.
Yeah, just to add on to that as well, I've been in a lot of accommodation talks, and they always tend to say, when you do get that slot booked in, make sure you know your route and make sure you know where you're going, because the postcode and address they give you might be different to the actual accommodation that you're moving into, because sometimes they like tier it so people aren't sort of crossing over too much moving in. So they might tell you to park in a certain place, then park somewhere else. So just make sure you know all the information when they give you it, and you're prepared of like when your slot is, where you need to be, just so everything runs smoother, and it's obviously a lot less of a stressful day when you move in.
Yeah, definitely. Someone has said about kind of leading on about accommodation in general, and is it worth the price? So for me, I'm in Signet Wharf. I absolutely have loved my first year here. The thing I love about the university run student accommodation is that literally if you have any issues, someone will sort it for you. So we once had where the water was broken and like the tap was broken, you can call someone up, within an hour someone was there fixing it. And so I completely an advocate for student accommodation, especially for the first year, because there are so many new things, and so many kind of worries and anxieties that are completely natural for new students. But to kind of take that anxiety away of where you're living, I think is a really useful thing to have, and to know that you don't have to worry about your flat and everything, because there are so many people that are there to help you. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything.
I was just going to say, I was similar. I wanted to be right in the middle of campus, so I lived in Signet Wharf because I wanted walking distance everywhere, not to get lost, even though you can't really get lost in Lincoln. I think I was being a bit dramatic, but it was for my own peace of mind. I was moving somewhere new, and I just wanted to know that I was in a safe, good place. It's protected by our 24-hour campus security as well, all of campuses, which is great, pretty much all the way up to the high street too, because campus sort of backs onto the high street with just like some buildings in the middle. So if you are coming back from like a night out and you have to walk through campus to your accommodation, the security will check in on you, make sure you're okay. They're always dotted around. And I'd say if you're worried about budget and stuff like that, there are differing price ranges for accommodation. So that's definitely something to look into. Take into account your maintenance loan, what you can afford and stuff like that, because there is different prices. I know like Signet Wharf might be one of the most expensive, but at the same time, Lincoln Courts is a lot more affordable. So you need to really like look into that and see what fits into your price range, what you can afford.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I'll jump in. Yeah, again, it's well worth having a look at scholarships and bursaries. Because I think I was entitled to a couple in my first year that I didn't have to apply for. I was automatically kind of enrolled onto. It's well worth looking if you are eligible for any of those. Again, because some obviously you do have to apply for. So it's well worth if you can. Obviously, that can supplement your funds, things like that, and help you kind of pay off those costs. Just out there, sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely.
To touch on that scholarships and bursaries, if you literally Google University of Lincoln scholarships and bursaries page, you can scroll so long forever. There's so many different scholarships and bursaries. You might not think like you'd apply for them. Like I didn't think I'd be able to get one, and then I got a letter through the post, and again it was the sort of bursary that you didn't have to apply for. But if you have a look on the website, there's so many different ones to do with like different backgrounds and stuff like that. So have a look, apply for ones that you think you might be able to get, and there's something like academic achievement and stuff like that as well. So just have a look, because you probably will be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. We've just got a couple more questions. So one here about the CAS letters again. So again, I would encourage you to email international inquiries, because they deal with those sorts of questions. So they will have much more relevant information for you. So the email is at the bottom of the screen. Harrison has said, the reason I asked about Nottingham earlier, because some people have said that the Lincoln nightlife isn't the best. I'm not really the person to ask. I know that we have a beer cellar, and which is really good. We've got loads of pubs and things like that. We also got the Engine Shed, which is the student nightclub, which is a really good one. But I don't know if you guys wanted to add in.
Yeah, I would just say there's like a diverse, range of entertainment. It really depends on what you like, because you do have like all your pubs, and student union host loads of really amazing events. And one of the really nice things about Lincoln is that it's not just all about the students. They cater to everybody in the city. So because it's growing, there's always new things opening up and loads of investment going in. So there's loads of really great clubs and events, night out and things like that. So yeah, I would say is it a good night out.
Yeah.
I think I'd add on to that. I think there's something pretty much every night of the week going on, whether it be kind of a club night, sort of a bar event. I think they opened, was it Carousel? Was it last year? Year before?
Yeah.
That was a really good, something different. And they sort of had an arcade, which is really fun. So again, there is something kind of for everyone. And again, I think there is something on pretty much every night of the week. Whether it be kind of a club night, whether it be kind of just an event at the Swan or Towers. Again, they have quiz nights on, I think it's a Thursday and Sunday, don't they? Towers and Swan.
Yeah.
So again, there really is something for everybody, and kind of every night of the week, there's something you kind of get involved in, kind of whatever your preferences are.
Yeah, I was going to add on to that, sort of like what you guys have both said, there is something for everyone. So if you're fancying like cocktails, bottomless brunch, there's a lot of really lovely cocktail bars, like especially as you get higher up the hill and stuff like that. And then there is like beer cellar, places like that, the proper nightclubs that have got like 6 floors, proper nightclubs. And then we do have our club night on a Wednesday night, Quack. Which I absolutely love, Quack. It is pretty much just for students. You can bring a non-student guest with you, but that's a really nice environment too. And then I think like the Swan does like karaoke, the quizzes that Mitchell mentioned. I know, I think in the TP they do a speed dating, which is quite funny. And then like bingo nights and stuff like that as well. So it just depends what you're after really, but there really is something for everyone.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that's not just like clubbing. So yeah, someone has asked about the train station. I'm not particularly savvy about trains, but it's a relatively big station, I would say, and it goes to kind of all the big places. Like it goes to London, goes to Nottingham. So yeah, but there is a website, so I would encourage you to go look on there if you're thinking about going somewhere specific.
Just add on to that. Yeah, it's got pretty good links to everywhere. I think, as you mentioned, there's a direct to London. I think from mine, it's only one change back to Norwich. Again, goes all kind of Sheffield, Leeds direct. Again, you've got quite a good links across the country, wherever you kind of are, wherever you travelled.
Yeah, exactly. Someone has said down here, do you need to buy tickets for Freshers Week? I know a lot of companies do like Freshers wristbands and things like that. I personally didn't, because I didn't really want to like pressure myself to have to go out to all these events, because a lot of them do tickets at the door and things like that, or last minute tickets that they sell the night before. But there's also a lot of free events that the university put on. So I personally didn't. I know some people that did, that really found them really useful. I know some people that did that barely use them at all. So it's just kind of personal preference. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything.
Yeah, so some of my housemates bought the Freshers wristbands for like the nightclub events. There was like paint parties, foam parties, themed dressing up ones and stuff like that. I didn't, because I did want to go out clubbing in Freshers Week, but I did not want to tie myself into every single day. Sort of what Emily said. I know some of my housemates did go every single day clubbing, and I think they suffered for it. But yeah, stuff like that you do buy your tickets to, or you can buy them like individually for the night or on the door, or like the week in general. And then like obviously the Freshers Fair, Societies Fair, university run events, they're all free to go into. And yeah, if anyone has anything to add on to that.
I was going to say, I think the Students' Union do a Freshers wristband. I know during my Freshers Week, I bought one and definitely made really good use of it. And it was a really great way to go out and meet people. But like you guys have said, there are free events during the day. It just depends on what you enjoy. If you enjoy going out at night, then it's probably worth investing in it, because you don't want to get to Freshers Week and not have the tickets and everything sold out and you're the only one in the flat like waiting. So yeah, if that's your thing, I definitely recommend having a look at the Freshers wristbands.
Yeah, definitely. So there are a couple of repeated questions. So again, with the cast letters, the best place to go is the international inquiries email, because they're the best people to ask, because that's kind of what they deal with. A couple of people asking about waiting for their offer letters and things like that. From my memory, they usually wait until after results day to kind of start sending offer letters and things like that. I think. So yeah, they're the kind of ones that are left. Don't know if anyone wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I think for my postgrad, it was all online, so I think the offer system was a little bit different.
Yeah, and a couple of people saying it's taking a bit of time to get their sort of letters through. So I would probably leave it a couple of weeks. If you're still concerned, go onto the website and try and find the contact email. I'm pretty sure it's just inquiries at Lincoln. Yeah, so it's at the bottom of the page, and there's also a telephone number that you can call and you can chat to someone if you have a more specific concern, because they can kind of look into it a bit more in detail for you. So yeah, I think I will wrap it up there, unless anyone else has any burning words of wisdom they want to share.
I was just, obviously, I didn't know if you were going to mention this, Emily. We've got another live lounge on the 6th of July. For like, we're going to discuss a few more topics. You can ask more questions there. But yeah, please utilize the email addresses, the phone numbers, messages on Unibuddy and stuff like that. And we can like hopefully answer any questions you might have in the meantime, because we can't physically answer them all today, unfortunately.
Yeah, and please come visit us in person. We are doing open days, but like Sophie said, even if you can't come to an open day, it's an open campus, so you can literally just come to the city and walk through, have a look. You can book an accommodation tour and just chat to people, because like we said, sometimes you just have to be here and just get a feeling of it. So the first date for our first open day is the 11th of June, but we're running loads throughout the summer, and you can come up and you can see us, you can chat to us, and ask any more questions that you have there. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to these lovely students for sharing all of their experiences. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.